Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. The Daily Express reports that Russian newspapers are displaying a rare public show of frustration, openly mocking the country's deepening economic turmoil. According to BBC Russia editor Steve Rosenberg's monitoring of Russian media, jokes about soaring prices, internet restrictions, and airport disruptions are permitted, though direct criticism of President Putin is absent. Publications like Kommersant have acknowledged a continuing manufacturing slowdown and weak domestic demand, while Izvestia has highlighted the risk of default in nearly a quarter of Russia's bond market and shortages of critical cancer medicines. The satirical jabs, such as those in Komsomolskaya, Pravda about depleted financial cushions and runaway inflation, and in Argumenty I Facti targeting internet controls and airport chaos, underscore the mounting economic pressure faced by Russia due to sanctions, military spending, and labor shortages. This shift in media tone signals a growing level of discontent within the country. CBS News reports that the U.S. will press international partners to intensify counterterrorism efforts, particularly against threats from Iran and in the Strait of Hormuz. A new 16-page strategy, signed by President Trump, expands its focus to include Islamist terror groups, drug cartels, and violent domestic political groups. Seb Gorka, the senior director for counterterrorism at the White House National Security Council, emphasized that the U.S. expects more from serious nations and rejects the role of a global police officer. The strategy aims to identify and neutralize threats through law enforcement, military action, or financial disruption. Gorka specifically mentioned targeting left-wing extremist efforts, citing Antifa and the transgender killers, the non-binary, the left-wing radicals who killed my friend Charlie Kirk, while stating politically motivated violence from either side will not be tolerated, but claiming the left is responsible for far more politically motivated assassinations or attempted assassinations in recent years. France's Charles de Gaulle carrier strike group is repositioning south of the Suez Canal and moving into the Red Sea, signaling readiness for a potential joint escort mission with the UK in the Strait of Hormuz. Announced by French President Emmanuel Macron, this deployment places Europe's most powerful warship, accompanied by 20 Rafale fighter jets and 10 warships, closer to the strategic Strait of Hormuz. The French naval chief stated that the move allows for a quicker response if conditions are met, but stressed that any operations would require neighbor consent and depend on reduced threats and increased confidence from the shipping industry. The deployment contrasts with the paused U.S. Project Freedom and aligns with the European Coalition of the Willing initiative promoted by France and the UK. Observers note the strategic importance of the Strait of Hormuz, which handles a fifth of global oil supply, and the heightened war risk insurance premiums for vessels navigating the area. This news was reported by Zio Suram. Fox Business reports that PayPal is reportedly weighing significant job cuts, potentially reducing its workforce by up to 20%. This move comes as the payments giant faces increasing pressure on profitability. Despite experiencing a 7% rise in first-quarter revenue to $8.35 billion and an 11% increase in total payment volume to $464 billion. Net income, however, declined to $1.1 billion from $1.29 billion a year earlier. New CEO Enrique Lores, who took office in March, is spearheading cost-cutting initiatives, including leveraging artificial intelligence with an aim to generate approximately $1.5 billion in savings over the next 2 to 3 years for reinvestment. The company anticipates a 9% decline in adjusted earnings for the current quarter and maintains a conservative full-year outlook, grappling with fierce competition and a slowdown in digital payment growth post-pandemic. Federal and provincial privacy watchdogs in Canada have concluded that OpenAI failed to respect Canadian privacy laws during the training of its artificial intelligence-powered ChatGPT chatbot. A joint investigation led by Federal Privacy Commissioner Philippe Dufresne and his counterparts from British Columbia, Alberta, and Quebec, found that OpenAI's collection of information for training models was overly broad. This led to the compilation and use of sensitive personal details, potentially including data on individuals' health conditions, political views, and information concerning children. The watchdogs also stated that OpenAI did not clearly explain that personal information was being collected from publicly accessible sources like social media and discussion forums, and launched ChatGPT without fully addressing these known privacy issues. Furthermore, the probe identified inadequate notifications about potential inaccuracies in ChatGPT's responses and a lack of effective mechanisms for individuals to access, correct, or delete their personal information. OpenAI has since taken significant steps and agreed to implement further measures to enhance privacy protections for Canadians, as reported by the Canadian press. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.